They never.
All right, we're live.
All right, we're ready to go. Okay, good morning, everyone. What is today? We're in the month of May already. Gosh, how the time flies. I have to tell you, boy, when you get a little bit older, these days turn into weeks and months pretty quickly. Let me center this a little bit better. Hold on one second. Okay, I think that's good. Hope everybody's doing well in this first weekend of May. I'm just recovering a little bit. Was down with, I wouldn't say the flu. I had probably a day or two of congestion, the normal stuff when the seasons turn, I think. But feeling better today and ready to get on with life, as they say. So hope everybody is doing well. I want to thank everybody for jumping on board. I wasn't here last weekend. I was in New York. I was in Utica, actually, first in Manhattan for a couple of days. Had dinner with Chaz Palminteri, excuse me, and we did a few videos, and we are going to bring back the Wise and the Wise Guy for all of you that might have watched us probably about 6 or 7 months ago was the last video that we did. Our schedules were just too tight to match. We didn't want to do it through Zoom. He's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, but I think we're going to pick it up now. We're going to do it through Zoom because so many people are asking, "Where are you, Mike? We missed the Wise and the Wise Guys." So we're going to be bringing it back later on this month, and we'll make that announcement. Everything else is well, and got a busy month of May coming up. Me personally, I'll be moving from one house to another. We're moving a block away. I've had my eye on a house for the past several years, and finally became available, so I snatched it, and we're going to be there. Brand new studio that we're building in the house, so I'm very excited about that. That'll occur within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's when the big move is planned. The studio is being built right now, so all good. All good. And, today I just want to get up to date on a few things. And by the way, I want to thank, we had a really good response to some of the videos that we put up this past week. And thank you all again, for enjoying the content, for supporting us. We appreciate that very, very much. I want to talk about a couple of topics today. Then we'll open it up for a Q&A, both with YouTube and, of course, on Rumble. And we'll hear what many of you have to say. It's been a crazy week. Obviously, Trump celebrated his 100 days. He did a speech at Alabama that I thought was terrific for the graduating class. I thought it was a really good speech. It was received really well by all the students in Alabama. Nick Saban introduced him. Nick Saban is a friend of mine. I've spoken to his football teams at LSU when he was with Miami Dolphins, and I think 3 or 4 times at Alabama. Great coach, just a great guy all around, very, very smart. And he had the pleasure of introducing Trump. I think they became good friends. So it was a great, great highlight. And then, of course, Trump was in Michigan, and he talked about his accomplishments for the first 100 days, which, people, whether you like him or not, you have to say it's pretty historic. All of his campaign promises, not all of them, let me correct myself, the campaign promises that he made with respect to the border and doing something with the economy and uncovering fraud and theft in our government. He's following through on all of that. As far as the tariffs are concerned, listen, I have said this before. I'm not an expert in this regard. I think Trump's intentions are right. He really does want to fix the economy and make America a great manufacturing power again. He wants to do all these things. Whether his methodology is right, we have to wait and see. I'm putting my faith and trust behind him because I believe his intentions are right for this country. I think this is what he wants. He wants to make America great again in many, many ways. So I'm giving him time. The stock market for the last 9 days has been up. Everybody panicked when it went down and, the usual stuff. And the Democrats jumped all over it and said he's had the worst 100 days and America's in trouble. All the pet phrases that they use. He's Hitler again and he's a threat to democracy and oligarchy and all of these words that they're using. He's there 100 days. but he's done more in 100 days than Biden did in 4 years. And at least what he's doing is looking like it's moving in the right direction. So I will say that, and wait and see. We got to give him time. I think a lot of these tariffs are just negotiating points that Trump uses to bring people to the table and work out deals that are more beneficial to America. I think he's pointed it out, that America's getting ripped off. Clinton said it. If you go back and look at her speeches, Hillary Clinton said it years ago. Barack Obama said it years ago that we're getting ripped off from China and from other countries. They just didn't do anything about it. For them, it was just rhetoric. And why? Well, maybe they were earning money. Look, I tell it like it is. If you don't believe there's kickbacks going to, people in Congress and people in the White House, then you're drinking the Kool-Aid. They're absolutely getting wealthy on this. There's no question about it. The United States is a big business. It offers money to people in power, and they're taking it. And that's probably why they've never done anything about it. Because why upset the apple cart? Why upset the system? People on the street, they don't really know what's going on, so we may as well take advantage of it. When we sit there and think that they really care about us, it's not true. They just don't. And there's so many indications of that we can't ignore. But before we get into all of that, I want to get into something that I thought was very interesting. Luis Mangione, everybody knows who he is, right? He's the young man that is accused, allegedly killed that guy. Well, I don't think it's alleged. We have it on video. It's there. And he's been made out to be a hero by some. Of course, he's not a hero by many others. But they're doing a play about him. It's called Luis. San Francisco. I'm assuming it's a bunch of liberals. They're going to be supporting him. It's a satire. Allegedly, they're showing that P. Diddy and Sam Bankman are his cellmates. I don't know what the content is going to look like. I haven't seen it, but I do know it's going to have a run in June, and it's sold out. Immediately sold out. So are they making this guy a hero because our healthcare system is been demonized by many, and I understand that. Trust me, I really do. I think we need reform in our healthcare system. Obamacare didn't do it, didn't work. We know that. Congress needs to get busy and try to do something to create a better system. I know it's difficult, but we have to have a better system. There's no question about it. It's not bad. It's not broken. It just needs to be better. It's expensive, and they need to do reform. But to make a hero out of Luis Mangione, if it's true, and I think, like I said, we saw it on video, he killed an innocent guy. The guy, why he picked him out, I don't know. There's certain things that we don't know about the case, obviously. But he killed an innocent guy, a father, a husband. You don't do things like that. There was a time during my day, you get demonized for that. You get sent to the death penalty for that, but now they're making a hero out of him because so many people are disgruntled with the healthcare system. So now we got to see what this play is like. It's amazing how people, I think it's a trend that's going on these days. The Menendez boys, I should say. A lot of people are rooting for them to be released from prison. I'm one of those people that are rooting for them. Yes, it was a heinous crime. Yes, they killed their parents. It was horrible. I see that. They were young. I'm not making excuses for them. The case. I'm not going to get into it. That I was with Lyle Menendez for 11 months. He spoke to me a lot. He did tell me about the abuse from his parents. But when I look back, he's done 30 some odd years in prison now. He was young when he went in. I believe he's reformed. I don't think he'll ever do anything like that again. I think the sentence should have been based upon, certain facts that came out in the case. I think it should have been life with the possibility of parole, not life without parole. So I think, he may get a break. The two brothers might get a break. It'll come down to life with parole, and then maybe they'll make parole. Their history in prison has been great. Before they knew they'd ever have a chance to get out, they were doing some good things there. Really helping the other inmates. They educated themselves. So they did the right thing while they were in prison. I believe people are reformed in prison. So I'm hoping that they get a break. But, this kind of hero worship with Mangione, I don't get it. I really don't. We'll see what happens. I don't want to condemn this young man and say anything more that's been said out there already. But it's going to be very interesting, to see how people react to this, how a jury reacts to this. when they finally do go to trial. And there will be a trial there. They're not going to, there won't be any plea agreements there. You know, Bondi is a no nonsense prosecutor, and they're going to go for the death penalty. I've heard that. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. I think a jury decides on the death penalty or not. So we'll see what happens. I think, you know, I'm people. I think you know, I'm against the death penalty. And by the way, let me explain something before I get into that. Let me explain this. All of this, people have been asking me why all this bling all of a sudden that you have on you. Well, let me tell you something. It's not bling to me, and it's not all of a sudden. This cross, it's in the shape of a dagger. This cross I've been wearing for 20, 25 years now. My wife gave it to me. It's very special. And hopefully I'll wear it to the end of my life, you know, if God willing. But I've had this on forever. This chain right here, if you can see it, the gold chain, the short one, it's when you do an opposite on the screen, it looks silly. But it was given to me by a gentleman that has a big jewelry operation in New York. So when he came out, he sat down with me. You can see the video. He brought this to me and he said, I'd really appreciate it if you wear it. So I'm wearing it. It's Italian. It's beautiful. It really is. So I'm wearing it. And then this one here is a dog tag that, well, we do make these available to people. And it does have my made man insignia on it. And of course, my fingerprint on the back. And it's been available for a long time, but I'm just telling you why I wear it. And, you know, you can get it on my website if anybody wants it. A lot of the young people are wearing it. But to me, it just signifies that you're remade and that you've turned your life around and you're heading in the right direction. And, you know, for anybody that feels that that's what they're all about and they'd like to wear something like that, well, we make it available. So the Louis Mangione thing, we'll see what happens. You know, the play, it's in San Francisco, so you already know it's going to be something liberal. There's no question about that. But we'll see where it all ends up. I'd like to hear what your comments are on Mangione, really. But I can tell you this, you don't solve problems like that. You don't kill somebody in cold blood. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a young guy. I think he's in his 40s, early 50s, something like that. That's not the way to deal with these issues. Mangione was disgruntled, something over the healthcare system. Again, we'll find out when this thing goes to trial what the evidence is, what his defense is going to be. But you don't solve problems like that, you know. So there's got to be some accountability to that, and I'm sure it's going to work out that way. So let's move on. Let's go down now to the border. You know, more stuff is coming out about this Abrego Garcia. I think it's Luis Abrego Garcia. You know, this was not a fine, upstanding citizen like the Democrats painted him out to be, from Maryland, a husband and a father. No, we're seeing a lot more that's come out. You know, I don't understand how the Democrats just jump on a cause. Anything that they think is going to be anti-Trump, that they can hurt Trump with, they just jump on it. They don't investigate it. They don't look into it. They just jump on it. And that's what they did with this Garcia. They didn't look into his past. It was, oh, this is something we can nail Trump with because the court said that he was deported in the wrong way, that the right process wasn't carried out. So let's now jump on Trump and let's use this. They don't investigate it. They don't look into it. They don't see what kind of guy he was. And look what's coming out now. First of all, he was here illegally. There's no question about it. Second of all, he was afraid to go back to his country. Well, why was he afraid to go back there? If he wasn't a gang member, like the courts have documented, he's an MS-13 gang member, why would he be afraid to go back to his country? It doesn't even make sense. They didn't even look into that. They said that it was fictional that he was a gang member, that they're making it up. No, it's not. He has MS-13 written on his fist. I think there was recently a sit down with Trump and somebody from CBS who tried to say that was photoshopped. They just make these things up. The reporter said it was photoshopped, or it may not be an MS-13 on his hands. Well, yes, it is. It absolutely was. Now we see that there was videotape. You know, when he was stopped by the police in a van in, I believe it was in Tennessee. He had undocumented immigrants in the back. There was no luggage. There was 11 people in the back of his van with no luggage, no identification, nothing on them. Well, it's obvious that he was human trafficking them someplace. So MS-13 member, human trafficking. And by the way, the highway patrol that stopped him at that point called into ICE, and ICE said they wouldn't come to let him go. And that was during the Biden administration. So he just freely let these people into the country, didn't care who they were, what they were doing. We know that already. This is more evidence to that. So now you got a guy who is an illegal migrant, immigrant, who's afraid to go back to El Salvador because he is an MS-13 member and he'll probably get killed or hurt. So he didn't want to go back there. There would be no other reason why he would be in fear of going back to El Salvador and meeting up with his old colleagues or accomplices, I should say. Right? That's number two. Number three, he was arrested with an MS-13 member at one point in time, more evidence that he was MS-13. And number four, the most damning information was coming from his wife. His wife filed court protective orders against him because he, quote, beat her up, slapped her, smashed the phone against the wall, smashed her son's computer, and then made a statement to his mother, her ex-mother-in-law or something, that he could kill her and nobody would even know it. This was a bad guy, obviously. He wasn't a fine, upstanding Maryland citizen like they painted him out to be, a husband and a father. So they didn't look into it. So now that all of this evidence is coming out, remember, this guy Holman, whatever his name was, I forget, the congressman, he flew down, used a photo op, sat with him like he was doing this courageous thing, helping this poor family man, this poor father get back to Maryland. It was all a farce. It was all just anti-Trump. They're falling over themselves to do anything to attack Trump. And then what happens? 5 more Congress people go down there to meet him before all of this evidence comes out. Now what are they doing? Now they're saying, well, we weren't necessarily supporting Garcia. They absolutely were. Look at the video. This poor Maryland father of children and husband was uprooted and taken back and sent back to his country. They made a hero out of him. They made a martyr out of him. They absolutely did. They used photo ops with him. But now all of this evidence is coming out about this character. What are they saying now? Well, we didn't necessarily support him. We're only supporting the decision by the court that the right process wasn't used to deport this man. So now they're backpedaling and they're trying to cover up their tracks. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me, when the Democrats were, remember when it was global warming? Before it was climate change, it was global warming. Remember that? Until they found out that the globe really wasn't warming. So they had to change the narrative. So now they changed the name to climate control. Why? Because it's all a big farce. We're seeing now through Doge and through other systems how much money they're making on this, how they're oligarchs that Bernie Sanders keeps talking about in the Republican Party that he can never identify. It's the oligarchs in the Democratic Party that have made all of this money off of this climate change nonsense that used to be global warming. But you see how they shift when their theory or their premise becomes defeated? Then they have to switch. They have to create a different name. That's exactly what they did with this Albrego Garcia, saying they're not supportive of him, but the video proves differently. Now they're only supportive of the process that Trump went against and deported this guy illegally. These people are pathetic, I have to tell you. All of those that have supported him, now they're quiet. They're not saying anything now. The reporters are going after it, but they're not saying anything now. They want this to go away now. People, their only objective is to go against Trump. They don't care about the country. They don't care about the people. Look, I'm going to keep saying this from now until forever because we can never get people that violated our trust back in power. And that's what these people did through 4 years of the Biden administration and through all these indications now that they're just anti-Trump. They're trying to impeach him again. I mean, here we go again. They just want to disrupt this country in the worst way. They don't even have the presence of mind to say, you know what? Let me just wait. If Trump is really acting in the country's behalf, let me just wait. Let me give this guy a couple of months. Let me see where it goes. They're already happy now that, some people are turning on him because, they think the tariffs are not going to work and he's ruining the economy and this stuff. They want it to happen. They want nothing more than for us to go into a recession. They want nothing more than for Trump to fail in his policies to try to help this country so that they can go back in power and desecrate it again. That's all they want to do. Never forget the 4 years that they were in office. Never forget that they lied about Biden. Never forget that Biden was thoroughly investigated for peddling his office of vice presidency. Never forget what Hunter Biden did. Never forget all of these things, because if given the opportunity, they will do it again. Biden didn't do this alone. He had the whole Democratic Party that were his accomplice in causing all this devastation. All of a sudden, they're so worried about the border. They didn't care about the border when people were coming over here illegally, when they were taking over apartment complexes, Trente Agua. They didn't care about that. They didn't care when there's crime in the streets. They didn't care about Lake and Riley's, that was murdered. They didn't even have the integrity to stand up for the parents of people that were murdered by illegal migrants, immigrants. They didn't care. And now they're making believe that they're worried about the border. Now they're protecting the immigrants. Why are they protecting the immigrants? It's illegal to cross the border. People, as I sit here right now and talk to you, I have had trouble getting into Canada. I do it the right way. I've been in there a number of times, over the past 10, 15 years. And now all of a sudden they're giving me a hard time. And not since Trump is in office. I'm talking this started a year ago. I had a big tour there and they wouldn't allow me in. And there was no new evidence, nothing that I did wrong, nothing whatsoever. They just decided not to let me in, period. And they went back on my record from 35, 40 years ago. Same thing with Australia. They give me a hard time now, immigration is. I'm trying to get back in. They're asking me for things they never asked for before. I've been in there 5 or 6 times on speaking tours. But my point is, they have an immigration policy at the border and they don't just let everybody in. Why did we do that? Why did we let everybody in? Just give them a pass. Hey, come on in. Don't worry about it. They didn't vet these people. They have no idea. Comey got up and said that we definitely have terrorist cells within the country. Why did he do that? They lied to you. I know why they did it. I've been saying it from day one, because they wanted all these illegal migrants to come in, spread them throughout all the states, turn every state blue, let them vote without any backup supporting documentation for themselves, give everybody the ability to vote, and they would never get out of power again. That was the entire plan. There was nothing else behind it. And who paid for it? You did. I did. Our taxpayer money paid for it. When they were getting $10,000 credit cards and getting housing for free and getting bus tickets and plane trips and food stamps and all of this stuff for free, you were still struggling to put food on the table and pay your mortgage. They didn't care about you. They don't care about you now. None of them do. And I'm going to keep saying this. And I'm telling you what my goal here is too. Selfishly, I live in California. I'm going to support any Republican politician to try to get them in office so that we can turn this state red and get it back to normal. We have the highest taxes here, the highest regulations. We're a sanctuary state. Everything here in California, we have the worst economics and the worst politics in this state. And it's one of the most beautiful states in all of the country. But they're ruining it. I'm sorry, this is what they do. And now, who are the heroes of the Democratic Party right now? Bernie Sanders and AOC. They're polling better than anybody. And what are they? They're socialists. They're avowed, unapologetic socialists. Is who we want to run our country? We're a capitalist nation. We're not a socialist country. Socialism has never worked. In socialist countries, who gets wealthy? The government. That's it. And they're prize people that help them remain in power. That's it. The common people, the ordinary people, the blue collar people like you and me, we don't get wealthy in a socialist nation. We're not allowed to. It's all government control. Why would these people want to turn America into a socialist country? Bernie Welsh gets up there. Bernie Welsh, he was an FBI agent. I'm sorry, I still have him on my head. Bernie Sanders gets up there and he keeps talking about these oligarchs. The Republican Party. Well, who are they? Why doesn't he identify some of them? All the oligarchs I knew, Bezos, Zuckerberg, all of these people from Silicon Valley, they're all Democrats, all of them. All of the oligarchs that he talks about, he doesn't identify any of them. He's the one that says that Trump is making wealthy. Well, Bezos, he wasn't a Republican. He was a liberal. Okay, all these oligarchs that he's talking about in the Republican Party that he doesn't identify, they're really all liberals, every one of them. All the people in Hollywood, all these multimillionaires, these billionaires, they're all liberals, many of them. You could point out a few Republicans, but they're all on the Democratic side. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He just throws the word oligarchs around there. And he stays away from that. And notice this, he only talks about billionaires now. If you go back and look at some of his prior videos way back, he used to talk about millionaires also. He doesn't talk about millionaires anymore because he's a millionaire now. He became a millionaire while in Congress. Another one. There's a guy. He only became a millionaire because he lives in a capitalist country. Ask him how much money he's sharing around to all his neighbors and friends. Ask him. He's not sharing anything. These people are hypocrites. They're phonies. All they want to do is stay in power and be jealous of people that have more than them. Why would you be upset with a billionaire person like Jeff Bezos, who employs hundreds of thousands of people? He's such a dynamo for our economy. You know, Zuckerberg too. Why would you hate this guy? I mean, okay, he's got a lot of money, but he puts thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to work. You know, he spreads wealth throughout the economy. So what if he made it a lot of money? These people don't make it and then run away. They make it and they keep putting it out. So they have more than you. So what? I don't have any resentment to any of them. I look at them as, hey, good job. If you did it the right way and you took advantage of what America has to offer, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. But these people have this stupid oligarchs and socialism. Look at every place. Just do your history, people. Do your work. Look at every place where socialism was the law of the land. Look at how it ended up. People suffer over it. Only the people in power maintain the wealth. That's it. So AOC and Bernie, keep doing your thing because you're going to be rejected in the end. You have crowds of people really following you now, but in the end, when you have to answer the hard questions and you're really going to be put on the spot, people are going to reject you because this is not what America is all about. But keep doing it. Go ahead. Another cause. Just going to go one after another. Another cause. Again, I read someplace the other day, you know, these transgender women in men's sports, or transgender, I don't know what you call them, in women's sports. There was a woman that, in a swimming competition, transgender. She won every competition. She trounced the women. It wasn't even close. And this is who they're applauding. This is it. This is another cause. But yet, what are they? They're supposed to be all for women's rights. Do you see the hypocrisy in that? Women's rights. They're all a bunch of phonies and hypocrites. And you know what? I don't understand why they take up these causes. I don't get it. I really don't. These are minority causes that they're taking up. You know, they want the transgender vote. Okay, but it's a minority. They're in a minority. Why are they standing behind these kind of causes? I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand where these people are coming from. Are they just out and out rogues? Or they just want to upset, society? That I don't get it. The American people have spoken. We told them we want normalcy in our lives. We want our kids to go to school and not be taught about sexual, items and sexual things at the age of 5 and 6 years old. We don't want transgenderism pushed on them when they're young. We don't want it pushed on them at all. If this is the decision that they make later on in their lives, that's up to them. But we don't want it pushed on them. We don't want, liberal professors pushing liberal idealism and ideology to our students. We want them to be taught. That's what we want them to learn. We want them to be educated, not indoctrinated. We want a safe, secure border. We want police to do their job. Does there need to be reform in police departments? Yes, but like I said, there needs to be reform in any organization in the world. In government, in the Catholic Church, everywhere needs reform. But we need police to protect our communities. Of course, that's what we want. We don't want identity politics. We don't want people to be put in office, not because of their ability, and their expertise, but because of their color, their race, their creed. We don't want that, because then the best people are not doing the job. I told you that the answer to this is give everybody the opportunity to reach a certain level in education. Start young with them. Let a black, a Hispanic, a white, a Chinese, an Asian, let them all have the same opportunity when they're young to be educated and to go for a degree and to go for these jobs. You don't put them in there later on when they don't have the education or the expertise just because of their color, because then you're cheating the rest of the people. We're not getting the best out of people, and we should be. So give these people of all ethnic backgrounds the opportunity at a young age. If we have a Department of Education, do the right thing. Don't make it a union that's there just for the benefit of the teachers and the politicians that support them. We don't want that. We want them to really take care of our children and give everybody the same opportunity at a young age. We're not seeing that now. That's why you have all of this DEI. And the last thing I'm going to go into before we do questions, and I know I'm jumping around today, but I'm just throwing some topics out. The last thing I want to talk about is, I saw the other day, Jesse Waters, he's from Fox. He sat down with Elon Musk and all the people involved in Doge. And, the fraud and abuse that they're uncovering there, I only wish, I know it's not possible, it would be a tremendous undertaking. But the way that we can put these politicians is if every taxpayer just stood up and said, you know what, we're not paying you another dime, not another dime. And every business says, we're not collecting money and send it. We're not paying another dime until we see full transparency. We want to know where our money is going, because it's absolutely sickening what Doge is uncovering. It's sickening. There is so much fraud, so much abuse, sickening. And all these people on the left that are complaining about Doge, they're not talking about the $36 trillion in debt that they, when I say they, government, Republicans, Democrats, everybody in office, they caused this. We did not. We gave them our taxpayer dollars. They abused it, became wealthy on it, used the money for their pet projects. They abused it. They were irresponsible. They didn't account to us. They're complaining about Doge, but not one of them is getting up in there and says, this is how we're going to solve the problem. Trump is trying to do that. Whether you like his methodology, whether he's right or wrong, we're going to find out. But he's trying to do that. He really is. He's saying we can't exist like this anymore. With $36 trillion in debt, our interest payments are more than the budget of most of every department that we have. We can't do this anymore. So he's trying to get it under control. The Democrats never offer a solution. They don't say, okay, here's what we're going to do. All they do is go anti-Trump, 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 whether it's for the good of the people or not. But what this Doge is uncovering, it's absolutely sickening. The way these people have abused all of us. It's got to stop, people. We cannot give these people ever again the chance to be in power and to rule over us. We can't do it. They've abused it in the worst way. They really have. I would go on any Democratic, podcast or television show. I would face up to any one of them, because any question that they want to tell me about Trump, anything they want to challenge with me, I'm going to say, hey, let's go back to Biden. Let's see what he did for. I would put them on the spot every single time. There is so much corruption and just stuff that they've done that was so horrible throughout these 4 years that he was in office. That I would just keep hitting them in the face, because they have no answers. They have no answers to it at all. They just deflect and move on to Trump. They don't want to talk about Biden. They want Biden to go away. They don't want him on the national stage. They want him to go. They've abandoned him in the worst way. But they all supported him throughout his administration. So they're all complicit, every single one of them. And every single one of them, I'm sorry, that were complicit in keeping quiet about him and letting him have this border invasion that we have, they have blood on their hands. I'm sorry, they do. Because they allowed it. They sat back, they watched it, they allowed it, and they supported it because they wanted these immigrants to come into the country, get the opportunity to vote. That's all they cared about, so that they can stay in power. There was no other motive here but that. They didn't care about the immigrants the same way now. These Democrats that went down to see Garcia, they don't care about him one bit. Not one bit. He was a tool. He was a dummy. He was a patsy. That's all it is. They didn't care about him. It's anti-Trump. Give me anything you got. Give me the devil. I'll use the devil to go against Trump. As a matter of fact, they're doing that. Because some of the things that they're doing are demonic. There's no question about it. So, people, look, I use these Saturday mornings. I have a little bit of a bully pulpit here, but I use these Saturday mornings because it's just terrible what they're doing, and we can't let them get away with it anymore. We really can't. And listen, I'm telling you this, and I give you my word, and I promise you this. If I see Trump ever going off kilter, look, I have some issues with Trump. I really do. If I was his consigliere, if I was able to advise him, there were certain things that I would say, look, Donald, I spent 20 years on the street. I know with people, you gotta do certain things certain times, and I think certain things that he does, I think he should temper. I really do. I think he's on the right course. I really believe he cares about America. I really mean that. I think that he's doing the what he feels to be the right thing. I don't think this is for personal gain. Oh, but Michael, he's got an ego. Doesn't everybody? Come on. What does that have to do with it? As long as he's doing the right thing for the country, for America, that's all that matters, people. That's it. If he's doing this for his legacy, so what? He's doing the right thing. And you know what? You want to leave behind a good legacy. Maybe he wants to leave behind for his children and his grandchildren. Hey, as president, I did right for the country. I brought America back. If that's his motive, so what? What's wrong with that? You don't think I want to leave a good legacy for my children and grandchildren so that when they meet somebody on the street, hey, your father was a good guy, he did the right thing. Your grandfather was a good guy, he did the right thing. Of course we want to leave that legacy behind us. So what if that's it? So what if he's got a bit of an ego about that? So what? He's doing the right thing. That's what matters. He wants to make America a powerhouse again. We were losing it through these 4 years. There's no question about it. We were losing it. The evidence is there. It's clear. He's taken a hard position with people, but let's give him a chance and see how it's going to work out. He's a smart businessman. There's no question about it. America's the biggest business in the world, the biggest economy in the world. There's no question. So we got to give him a shot. That's all I'm saying. Don't listen to these Democrats. They don't know what they're talking about. They have nothing to offer. Nothing whatsoever. If they had something solid to offer that would make sense, okay, that makes sense. We can listen to that. But they don't have anything. They don't offer anything. Their only offering is anti-Trump. That's it. That's their whole platform. It's been that way for years. Anti-Trump, anti-Trump. They want to impeach him again. These radical lunatics, and that's what they are. Impeach him again in the first 100 days? Why? Because he's deporting illegal migrants? Really? Is that a basis for an impeachment? Oh, because he's writing executive orders and using tariffs to try to bring people to their knees so that we can get a fair shake as America? You want to impeach him for that? It's his policy. These people are nuts. Look at the people that are writing these impeachment up. Look at the guy that, I forget his name, that's shaking the cane. Just look at him. You can tell these guys, these people are lunatics. Something wrong with them. Really. Give the guy a chance. Let's see what he does. Like it or not, his first term as president was pretty damn good. And he was fighting everybody. He was green. He wasn't a politician. He trusted people he shouldn't have trusted. He didn't understand the system. And he still got so much done. He knows it now. He knows it. He's got 4 years to bring this country back. Let's give him a chance. They're saying that, in his new bill, that he's looking to cut Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. That's a lie. It's an absolute. Just throw it out there and they lie and they figure, okay, if they lie enough, people will start to believe it. It's a lie. He's not going to touch Medicare. He's not going to touch Social Security. He's not going to touch Medicaid. He said it. It's in the bill. He's going to cut taxes. He wants no taxes on overtime pay. He wants no taxes on tips. These are benefits to America. And let me tell you something. I don't know if it could happen. I really don't. But if these tariffs work out to a point where he can reduce our personal income tax liability, why not? Let me ask you this. I'm going to throw this out to you. If you could pay no taxes, none, you get your entire paycheck, and yet you go to the store and your eggs, instead of being $3 a dozen. They're $4 a dozen because of the tariffs. What would you rather have? What would you rather do? Pay an extra dollar? And I'm using this, symbolically. Would you use an extra dollar? Would you rather pay 30 cents a gallon more for your gas and keep your entire paycheck? No personal income tax whatsoever? What would you rather have? I want to keep all my money. I don't want to pay any tax if I don't have to. And I'll go out and buy what I want and pay what I want when I want to. So if that is Trump's end game, I don't think he's going to get there. That's a tough thing. But maybe he can reduce taxes to a point where we can enjoy more of our money and then select and choose what we want to buy. Remember, there's always going to be competition there. Somebody's always going to try to undercut somebody price-wise. If you see $6 an egg, again, a dozen for eggs someplace, you're going to find it for $5.50 someplace else. That's competitive. That's competition. That's what we want. So listen, give the guy a chance. Okay, let me get to some questions. Hey, Max, did you send me the... Max, if you're on here, can you send me the links so I can go on and answer some... I'm not sending them. All right, let me get to... A little patience, people. 1 minute. Uh, 1 minute, people. I'm sorry. Trying to pull this up. Oh boy. Max, can you please send me this? I'm having trouble pulling it up.
Yep, I sent them to you on text.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Oh boy, again, I really appreciate all of you that donate to the cause. Thank you very much. We don't solicit anything, but obviously when people do, we give them first dibs as far as the questions and comments. Eric Dillman. Eric has been a great supporter. He's part of our family, michaelfrancis.com/family. He's been with me for years now, just a great guy. Eric, thank you very much for this. I appreciate it. Hi, Michael. The exclusive family platform interview on Wednesday with your wife, Camille, was a cherishing experience for all of us to hear. Franzi's family is full of great experiences offered, along with even greater people that join and share. Thank you very much. Eric was referring to our community, michaelfrancis.com/family. It's been a great experience for many. Eric's been, one of our original people in there. He contributes a lot. But we have a number of great people in there. We're trying to bring community back, people. That's what this is all about. We have great resources in there. I have, resources on leadership and how to be a boss and business and how to just reinvent yourself and be a better person. We've got Q&As that we're doing. We're doing live events, and people are really bonding with one another, helping each other out. So I really encourage you to look into it. We're trying to build a national community here, and people are really jumping on board and getting benefit out of it. And Eric is again, he can certainly attest to that. So go to michaelfrancis.com/family. Take a look into it. I promise you, it's not going to break the bank. It's not like some of the others out there. We want everybody involved. You don't sign a contract. There's nothing. You come in, you try. If you like it, you stay. If you don't, you say, hey, thanks. But it's not for me, but I know it's going to be for you. So, Eric, thank you very much. Always appreciate you, my friend. Lapco, thank you very much, sir. Took up your offer 2 weeks ago. Joined your family, not regretting it. They say mafia guys are nasty, but I grew up next to one, and he was a great guy. Used to pay me $20 to start his car every morning. Nice man. I like that. You know, it's funny. I used to pay people to do things like that also, but you know what? They really appreciated it. It wasn't demeaning. It was just giving somebody, a break here and there. And you know what? I appreciate that. Lapko, thank you very much for telling everybody that. And I'm really glad you're enjoying the experience. Thank you. Okay, who do we have here? Let's go. Nemi. Okay, thank you very much. Michael, Switzerland has socialism, 20%. It's a must. Well, I don't know about that. I just know that anywhere you can look at, you can look it up, do the history. Anywhere that socialism was the law of the land, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So maybe 20%, I don't know. But we do have 20% in a way because we do have healthcare for free in some places. We do have food stamps. We do have things like that. That's kind of socialist because it's other people's taxes that are paying for that. So yeah, I agree with helping out those that are in need, no question. But a benevolent nation, a capitalist nation, we do that. That's what we do. We help people in need. So I wouldn't call that socialism, but maybe you can in a little bit. But it's really a capitalist nation helping people in need. We have a lot of nonprofits out there that are doing just that, doing good things. So I understand where you're coming from. UPS laid off 40,000 workers. Smart business, huh? Well, if 40,000 workers were working off of taxpayers' dime and it was inefficient, the United States Postal Service is a business. It's losing $9 million a year. Last year, it lost $9 million. It's been losing money every single year. Something is wrong. Those people probably get a good severance pay. Remember this. Anyway, any place that Doge has laid off people or that people have been laid off in different government departments, they've been given an unheard of severance, like 8 months, and other advantages that they get. They're not just thrown out in the street. So if you're given that kind of severance pay, you have time to go get another job. I don't want people to think that they're just throwing these people out in the streets. That's not happening. So the UPS has been losing money for years. Years. Something is wrong. It's a business. Unfortunately, sometimes you have too much labor. People lay off people all the time. You can't get mad at that. If they're trying to do the right thing to make the government efficient so that taxpayer money isn't wasted, remember this. Taxpayers pay for these agencies. They pay for it. So you got to understand that. And yes, the UPS does generate money, but they're not generating enough to support their own people. You got to make cuts. It's harsh, but this is the way the world goes around. We're a capitalist nation. I'm just glad Elon's being listened to. Well, he is, but the hatred that's gone on to Elon, it's horrible. It really is. And remember, anybody that's objecting to the work that's being done as Doge, they have something to worry about. Really. They have some. It's just like Stacey Abrams. I talked about it last time. Stacey Abrams got $2 billion for a startup company that was 1 year in business. Startup company, 1 year in business, $100 in the bank. They gave her $2 billion. Where did that come from? It came from you and from me. I want to see any one of you put $100 in a bank. You're not getting it. She got $2 billion, and we don't even know where that money went. So please, these cuts have to be made. And you don't hear from Stacey Abrams anymore. She's been very quiet ever since this has been uncovered. But I guarantee she hates what Doge is doing. Are we ever going to know where that $2 billion went? No. We got robbed, plain and simple. Bajamo, it's a harsh reality that this country needs a major shakeup. Hang on and enjoy the ride. We do. We absolutely do. And yes, it's going to be painful in the beginning. But if it works out in the end, it's to our benefit. Okay, this is from Rosalia. Thank you very much, Rosalia. Fabulous. I absolutely love the platform. Keep doing what you're doing, Michael. We all appreciate everything that you do. Rosalia, thank you so much for that. She was I believe, Rosalia, you are the Rosalia that came up and visited me in Utica this weekend. I had a speaking event last weekend, and she drove 3 hours to come and see me. I believe this is the same Rosalia. I hope so. And she's a terrific member of our community and our platform. Look, I'm not soliciting these people to come up and saying this. They're doing this on their own because they're really benefiting from the platform. They're contributing and they're benefiting. So, give it a try. michaelfrancis.com/family. Just go in there, take a look at it. If you think it's something for you, join us. I know you're not going to be disappointed in that. I guarantee. Rosalie, I love you. Thank you. Okay, Lapco again. Okay, we got that. All right, who do we have here? Okay, Sapphire Jewels, Growing Pains, Hold the Line, Americans. Thank you. There's always a little pain before things get better. And Trump is saying that. I don't know if you appreciated the way he said it, but listen, this country was in tough shape financially and economically and every other way. You've got to be some pain to get it back, but he's doing it. Stock market, nobody's talking about it. It's been up for 10 straight days. 10 straight days it's been up among all of this time. First day, yeah. Second day, a couple of days, rocky. That's the market. Uncertainty. They get scared. But it's back up now. Nobody's talking about it. You don't hear them saying anything now, do you? Okay. Did you enjoy visiting Melbourne, Australia? When I was there, I loved it. I think it's a wonderful city. Melbourne, Sydney, loved it. I'm trying to get back there to finish up my tour, to do my tour in both Sydney and Melbourne. I'm waiting any day for, the decision from immigration to come down, and I'm sure it's going to be a good one. Okay, I understand. This is Snoopy 9292. I understand that's very similar to what I went through. I had to file bankruptcy for medical bills, but I still prefer that over what you mentioned. I do understand where you are coming from. Well, listen, again, let's give Trump a chance. He thinks these tariffs are going to work. It seems like people are coming to the table now to make a more fair, trade situation with these other countries. Let's see if it works. China is going to come. They have to. It's not going to be a war over this. They're going to come together on something, guaranteed. Greg Mitchell, thank you, Greg. Michael, are there supposed to be interviews with Jeremy Minor and Tommy Mello coming out? Also, how do you know them? They're friends. We got to know each other. And Tommy Mello already, I think he's released the interview with me. And with Jeremy Minor, I believe that interview is coming out. And yeah, Tommy probably will be sitting down with me. I got to meet them a while ago. Great people, by the way, both of them. Lapko, again, thank you. My main problem with Bezos is Amazon first took off by not collecting sales taxes. He basically did what you did, but he got away with it. Well, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know about that, but if he did, I guess, hey, more power to him. What could I say? It's in the past, but he's built a wonderful company, and how many people depend upon Amazon. I'll tell you what, if I ever met Bezos, I'm going to tell him, hey, you owe me something, bro, because I get an Amazon package every single day without fail. I don't know what they're ordering, my family, but they're ordering every day. Okay, here we go. What? Want less medical bills, eat real food, exercise, and avoid pharma. That's what Trump is trying to do. Got to give him the chance. He's only been there 100 days. Let's give him a chance. Psychotic conditions inside his warehouses. I'm not sure who you're referring to. Maybe Amazon. Not sure about that. Mr. Francis, I learned that we lived in the same neighborhood back in the day, Greenpoint in Brooklyn. Absolutely. Who is this? Boy, boy, boy. Artie Lark. Yeah, that's my old neighborhood, Greenpoint. Well, I don't know if you're my age, if we ever, maybe bunked into each other back then, but pleasure to meet you now, Artie. I love Greenpoint. It's changed a lot. My sister still lives there, but it was a great, great, great city when I grew up. Thank you for igniting Canada's national pride against Trump. Well, listen, I don't like that. I have many Canadian friends, and Canada is our neighbor. I don't know if it was the right move by Trump saying he wants to make Canada the 51st state. I'm not endorsing that. All I hope that we get back and we become neighboring, partners again because we love the Canadian people here. Americans love the Canadian people. I love the country, and I hope whatever issues that we have, I hope they're resolved. I mean that. And the fact that I can't get in there is troublesome. And it wasn't because of the people of Canada. It was a couple of immigration agents that wanted to play tough guy, and they just decided not to let me in. Where I've been in 10 times prior to that, and people were wonderful. Sometimes you get a bad apple. I'm sorry, and that's what they are. They want to throw out their chest. They want to show that they have, superiority over you, and they make a decision that's baseless. But they do it because they can. I always told you this, people. It's not strong people you have to worry about. It's weak people. They get power put in their hands and they really don't deserve it because they don't know how to handle it. But that's it. But we love Canada. And I hope whatever situations we have, I hope they're resolved. And I think they will be. We have to live with our neighbors, Canada and Mexico. Hi, Mike, and your beautiful family. Sending you all love and prayers from Central Florida. May God bless you on your endeavors. Thank you very much. And I love Florida, and I appreciate that. And the very same back to you. The tariffs, Daniel says that the tariffs are the art of the deal, the ultimate trump card. People know nothing about negotiation. I believe that too. He's using these tariffs as a negotiating point because he can. And let's see where it all turns out. That's all I'm saying. Again, stock market's up. So they must be saying, okay, things are going to level out. They're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. No reason to panic. And we'll see what happens. Okay, let me see where we are. Okay, we're good. All right, Maha Kum. I've been studying so much pre-cal, just passed the class with a B. I've been out of the news lately. Well, I'm very happy that you've been studying and that you're passing your classes. That's a good thing. John Barbaro. Michael, did you ever have any interactions when you were in the life with the New York City Hells Angels? Yes, I did. Chuck Zito, one of them. And how often do you see Angels on the road there in Santa Monica and LA? Not too often. I used to see them more. I don't see them as much right now. I don't know if that means that they're not as present or I just not seeing them. I don't know. I don't travel as much to LA as I once did. I'm out in Orange County now. I am Daniel. Should we have a prison like El Salvador for criminals who commit brutal crimes in America? Our prisons are tough enough. They're tough enough. We have to be humane. People are still people. We have to be humane. There's not a question of we have to, make tougher prisons. Prison is prison. And we have adequate, facilities right now in the United States. Okay, Michael, did you have any dealings with the Greek mafia? No, I did not. What's your opinion on Trump posting an AI image of himself as the Pope? Uh, these are the things that he doesn't need to do. All he does is incite people on the other. He doesn't need to do that. I know it's a comedy, it's a joke, but people take it the wrong way. And what do? They attack him for it. Oh, he wants to be a dictator. He wants to be the Pope. He wants to rule the world. And I think he throws it out there just to aggravate them. I really mean that. But it's not necessary. Let me put it that way. All right, let me go to. We got a lot of people watching on YouTube. Thank you very much. Let me go now to Rumble. Take some questions there before we wrap it up. Okay, some comments. Let's see what we got here. Have you tried my wine yet? Oh, I'm asking. I'm asking that of myself. No. Okay. Wait. Where's the comments? Yeah. One second here. Okay. What part of Canada are you in? Well, I'm not in Canada. I'm in America, but I want to be in Canada if they let me in. Okay. Deborah Pistole, I believe it's real too. I hope it doesn't win. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm coming in on the middle of this. Maybe he did the Pope meme to distract from the arrests coming. I don't know. I don't know why he did that. Pike's, but I think it was unnecessary. Pike's piece. I think the one area that the Europeans got right is putting drug addicts into job training and actual jobs, smashed addiction level. Listen, I believe in reform. I really mean that. I believe in rehabilitation. People can be rehabilitated. The answer to every act is not prison. I think rehabilitation in many cases for these lesser crimes, for people that are drug addicts, yeah, you put them in prison, but you want to rehabilitate them. You want to make them healthy again. I agree with that. I don't believe everybody has to be locked up. I don't. And, so I agree with you on that. I sure hope all is well there. I'm visiting the Yukon pretty soon and I'm pretty excited. Great. I think that the Canadian people are going to be okay with you. I don't think we're going to have any problem with our Canadian neighbors. At least that's how I feel. It's not all of us. I mean, we're not all Trump. Trump is doing what he needs to do, what he thinks he needs to do, to have a better relationship with Canada as far as the economics are concerned. Okay, let me see. Privatize the USPS. The government has no business delivering the mail. I totally agree with you. They're inefficient unless Trump makes them more efficient. But I agree with you. The private sector does things better than the government. There's no question about it. Privatize them. King Mark, all help is done privately in God's kingdom on earth, never by the government. I agree with you there, my friend. Thanks for the heads up you gave me a long time ago. There was indeed some nasty people coming for me. That's Pike's piece. I'm not sure who you're referring to there, Pikes. I hope you're okay now. Mrs. Gutierrez, Trump's only mistake is he gave the American people the benefit of the doubt that they could see all the lies. He thought they wouldn't be so easily manipulated by the left and the media. Well, I think he tried very hard to educate people in that regard. And maybe the way he did it sometimes was a little brash, but he tried. But, look, there are a lot of forces out there that are fighting against good. And when I say good, there's a lot of people spreading lies and rumors. Look, all of these lies about, Trump being the next Hitler and Trump being, a dictator and all the lies that they spread about him. So many lies that are just not true. They're lies. And Trump fought that ever since 2016. Before that, he was a hero. Everybody loved him, from Whoopi Goldberg to everybody. They loved him. They loved The Apprentice. They loved what he was doing. They loved him. As soon as he ran for president, they hated him, and they lied about him in so many different ways. And I think Trump tried to combat that, but, there's hard forces out there, people. Total commie tactics have been around for a very long time. The TV Muppets have huge control over millions. Look how far they push. I did an interview recently. It'll come out probably in the next week or so with Mike Benz. I'm not going to give you any insight into it, but this guy, he is brilliant. You need to listen to. He uncovers so much of what's going on in the world. And if you listen to that interview, listen to it once or twice or he really did. I could have spoke to him for 4 hours. I really mean it. I had so many more questions I wanted to ask him. We had a good hour and a half interview, and he's going to enlighten you on so many things that are going on in the world. I really mean that. You're going to understand, the forces that exist now that really control the world. Really. And this is not conspiracy. It's not any of that nonsense. It's true. His name is Mike Benz. Listen to it when it comes out. I'll be announcing it on, X and some of the other platforms. But pay attention to what he has to say. You'll be truly educated, and you're going to say, "Wow, this is what it's really all about." Okay, Interlaw, huge snake was standing right beside Trump, totally responsible, all planned out attacks to take him and the U.S. down. Yeah, well, listen. I asked Mike Benz, I said, "Are you sure that he's got the Secret Service are loyal to him?" Because, I worry. I mean, they tried two attempts on this guy's life already, and plus we know there was a third one from Iran. They said it. They're going to try to kill him. I hope the Secret Service is doing the right thing because the CIA didn't do the right thing when it came to John F. Kennedy, and that's a government agency. I'll leave it at that. Hopefully, Bongino can clean up some of the riffraff. Dan Bongino is a great guy. He's going to be great. He is great as a deputy director of the FBI. I have total confidence in him. He's a great man. And he's so honest, straight shooter, transparent, honest is what we need. Him and Kash Patel. They've been quiet, but I think we're going to see some of the great reforms that they're going to put in place. And the FBI is going to be a great organization again. I never thought I'd ever say that because I hated the FBI on the street, believe me. But what you know what? We need them. We need them to be a great, honest, and transparent and reliable organization. Stock market is down 5% since inauguration. Yes, that's true. Okay. But remember when it crashed and how it came back up. It's coming back up and it will come. You hold me to this. I guarantee you the stock market will come back up. It'll recover everything. It's going to. Just give it some time. You know how volatile things are volatile right now? It's going to come back. Trust me. I just saw a news update that Kamala Harris' 60 Minutes interview was nominated for an Emmy. I can't believe it. Well, just shows you what their standards are. You know, all I can say is I thank God that Kamala Harris was not elected as our president because this country would have been done. We would have been over. You know, you think it's a coincidence that military enlistment is up 300%? What does that tell you? It tells you that people had no faith in our military. People, we live in a very dangerous world. They had no faith in our military. Recruiting was way down under Biden. And now it's shot up hundreds of percent, 300%, I understand, in every agency, in every department, I should say. In the Army, in the Navy, in the Marines, Coast, everything is shooting up. They have confidence in America again. We need to be well protected. We live in a dangerous world. We live in a nuclear world. We have enemies out there that got stronger during the Biden administration. I really do believe there wouldn't have been a war in Ukraine if Trump was president. I do believe that. Again, it's how are we going to know, right? But there's so many indications here that what the left has done is just bad for our country and bad for our people. You know, from Doge, from the Department of Education, what they're trying to do to our young people in schools, from having trans, men in women's sports, for just everything. They're on the wrong side of everything, people. And we can never give them power again. You know what I would like to see? I would like to see the progressives be ousted from the Democratic Party. If I was a mainstream Democrat right now, right, a centrist Democrat, I would rally the troops to have the Progressive Party people ousted. Let them be their own party because their ideals are so out there. They don't connect with normal people. I mean, I hate to say this, but look at their protests. Where do these people come from? They don't even look normal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say it. I'm not trying to demean anybody, but it's the truth. They don't represent middle America. They don't represent our values. So let them break off and become their own party. We'll have three parties. We have three parties now. Let's add another one. Because Democrats are normally good. They're good people. I have many Democratic friends. Many. But what the progressives have done, they spewed such hatred into them. Let them see if they can stand on their own. Put them on their own platform. Give it to them. And let the Democrats operate it as they always did before these progressives took over. That's what I want to see. Will it happen? No. But if I was a congressperson, if I had a real voice in the Democratic Party, that's what I would tell them. Get rid of AOC, get rid of Bernie Sanders, get rid of all these lunatics. Let them have their own party, their own platform. We don't want them here. We want to be the centrist Democrats that we've always been. We can be a little more liberal. That's okay. You don't want anything too far to the left. You don't want anything too far to the right. We want more of a centrist type of government. That's okay. It really is. But these lunatics, they don't represent our values at all. I'm sorry. They don't. They absolutely do not. And they should have their own party, let them appeal to their own people, and let's see how far they get. My prediction, they wouldn't get very far. They really wouldn't. But we'll see what happens. People, okay, I'm going to let you go now. It's 10:15. And listen, all I wish is that you have a great weekend. I hope everything goes well for you this weekend. I am moving, so I'll be doing a lot of work today and tomorrow. Be at church tomorrow, of course. We don't miss that. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Abilene, Texas, at a church called The Rise, and I'm looking forward to being there. I actually should have been there this weekend, but I didn't want to say it. I've had a little bit of a bronchial infection, so I'm recovering from that. I feel a little bit better today, but I didn't want to spread anything anywhere, and I want to be at my optimum level whenever I go and speak and give praise to my Lord and Savior. So that's what I do. So anyway, my friends, how do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe, be healthy. God bless each and every one of you, your family, and your communities. And I'm going to leave you with two things, please. Try to join the family. Go in and take a look at it. michaelfrancis.com/family. Take a look. I guarantee you're going to love it. I mean that. We're a community of like-minded people helping one another, and I'm providing so many resources in there for all of you. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So please do that, and I'll see you next time. Take care.